Hey, hi people. It's been a while, but I'm going to start a new series. It's like kind of embarrassing, but like I feel like somebody else can really use this, especially like younger girls. And I'm gonna name it Healing from Heartbreak because that 19 theory is real. That boy will break your heart. You really gotta get back up. Even when you feel like you want to die, because you are going to feel like that, and you will be so convinced that death is the only way, and it's not. And I'm still pulling myself out of it. I just feel like documenting like the little things and just like me trying to get back to me is something that could help someone else. So almost for like the past month, I've just been like, it hasn't been good. If I don't start somewhere, I'm going to be stuck in this place for a long time. And I also think that's another thing. When you get your heart broken, you feel like, at least for me, like you deserve to be stuck in the sadness. If your relationship was anything similar to mine, like a lot of it was just like blame falling on you. So like now, like you're trying to like make sense of everything in the same way that that person made sense of everything. Blaming yourself and just being like, oh, maybe I do deserve this, like I hurt this person, when in reality, like, you really didn't. Especially when it was like a really toxic relationship. Like, you feel like nothing is worth living for, you're always gonna be sad. Like, that comes from a certain kind of toxic relationship that like not a lot of people can know until they're in. For me, I just like have been trying to like slowly move on. I've started journaling, started getting back into my word. I've just been like around my friends and family. And I think another like really important thing is not to jump into something else so quickly. Like a lot of people will say the best way to get over somebody is to like get under somebody else. Just don't do it. Like you're gonna feel really lonely, but like the loneliness of being alone will subside when you start to realize like you are really your biggest supporter and you are all you have. Especially after someone who was claiming to be your biggest supporter and to be madly in love with you and all of these things did what they did that got you to where you are now. Once you just sit in the loneliness and realize like I don't need a boy to make me feel good about myself, especially when most of the time they weren't making me feel good about myself. So like it's way better to just sit in that loneliness and just like be fine with being by yourself. And I think that's another thing I struggle with, because like not trying to like fish for compliments or anything like that, but I never really felt like a really pretty girl. And I think part of it stemmed from like, you know, things people would say and things like that. Like, and my biggest like downfall, I feel like, is my body. But I also feel like a boy that loves you genuinely won't care about the outside. Like, of course the outside matters, because like we'd all be lying if we said we didn't want an attractive partner, but like the inside matters more. But when you grow up feeling like you're like not that pretty, and like you finally have someone like telling you like, oh, you're pretty, but like not even just an oh you're pretty and I want to get to know you, without making you feel like I just want to, you know, feed my flesh. And so when you get that, you like just think like, wow, like this is it. Like there's so many people on the planet, and like you do not have to marry the boy that you met when you were 16. Like it's okay if you don't, and it's a beautiful thing if you get to. But if you don't get to, like, it is okay. Some people really genuinely are there to teach you certain things. And I think if I could tell my 16-year-old self anything about like where I am now and the person that I was with, it would just be to like, not even in like a hateful kind of way, but like if someone shows you who they are the first time, really do believe them. And like don't try and justify it, don't try and I think that's also something I still struggle with even after no longer being with the person, is just like you can't justify something with your thinking process. because like it'll never make sense, and then it'll just drive you crazy. Like for the past month I've just been trying to like make it make sense, but I can't. Like if someone else thinks completely different, the way you think will never align with their actions. Like, does that make sense? Let's say someone thinks, oh, people deserve multiple like tries and people deserve forgiveness and blah blah blah, and someone else believes that people don't deserve forgiveness. If that person ghosts you one day or leaves you or whatever after you make one mistake, and you're sitting in your head trying to rationalize it and say, oh, but like I forgave this person so many times, or people really do deserve forgiveness, because just because you mess up one time doesn't make you a bad person. They'll never fit. Like it's two puzzle pieces that'll never fit. For a while at least, I will still be stuck in this place of, well, maybe I deserved it because I wasn't that nice to him. Yes, I take full responsibility for every time I ever hurt him or my words hurt him. But there's like, okay, a paper cut hurts, yes. But if you were to slice your hand open with a knife, that would hurt more. So they both hurt, but one hurts significantly more. I think that's what's making my brain not be able to wrap around the fact that he couldn't forgive me for something that seemed so small and something that like he knew I struggled with. So it's just like, that's why it'll never make sense. That's why you can't sit and try to make it make sense, because it never will. Some people just have good, genuine hearts, and they like see the best in people, and they try to forgive, and they do this and they do that. And some people's hearts just aren't, hearts and brains aren't wired the same. And it sucks that you have to realize that once the person's gone, because like now finally the rose-colored glasses are coming off. And it's like, for so long you were in a relationship where you thought this person loved you, and like after every argument it was like, oh, couples argue, like you're not supposed to want to call it quits because couples argue and like we're bound to go through things. And so like you believed it, you believed what they were telling you, because it was almost like guilt trip. Like a person really can make you feel guilty for wanting to choose yourself. Like if you start talking about, oh, like you're just like really mean, and like I don't know if I want to like stay in this situation and blah blah blah, and they start telling you that you're selfish or you never loved them or whatever the case may be, it really does like take a toll on your mental, and it makes you sit and be like, wow, like is that true? Like if I leave, am I really selfish? Or if I leave, was like all of the love just like fake coming from me because I'm choosing to leave this person? But in reality, your brain is making you think these things, or making you think that you want to leave them for a reason. And even on the spiritual side of things, that voice telling you, oh, like this can't continue, this is not your person, like they keep hurting you. On the more spiritual side of things, it's the spirit, it is God. Listen to it. And I think my biggest mistake was ignoring it for 3 years. And at the end of the day, yes, I love this person, yes, I still do love this person, I don't hate this person, I wish this person nothing but success, but I also hope that this person can just like really rewire the way that their brain works, because it will take a lot of good things from them, and it takes a genuine person who has really gone through it to realize that. The whole you never loved them or you never tried is just like not true. And the fact that I kept myself in that situation for 3 years is just like, I don't know what selflessness is, or I didn't in that relationship, because it was always just my like eyes and brain and heart was just always focused on this person. Like in a positive aspect, it was like, oh, how can I make him happier, or how can I be a better girlfriend, or how can I do this, or how can I do that, so that he doesn't want to leave me. But on the more negative side of things, it was like, oh, how can I watch what I say, or how can I remember not to, what makes him angry and what doesn't, or things like that. And it's just like, at the end of the day, you can try and like have these things in the back of your mind for when like arguments and tough situations come up, but nothing really prepares you for when you're in them, and like the mask of this person hiding behind the, oh, this is love, wears off, and now they're getting angry at you for things that you don't feel are like worth getting angry over. And not in a sense of like, oh, I'm trying to downplay your feelings, but like if I don't text you, or if I don't want to be sexually intimate, or like whatever the case may be, or like if I ignore your calls for a little bit because I need time and space with my emotions, that should not warrant anger, especially if this person claims to know you and love you and has seen the same trends for 2, 3 years, 1 year, 1 month, 3 months, 5 months. At this point, they should know you as much as you are trying to know them. I just need to talk to someone, and whether 2 people see this or 2,000 people see this, I don't really care. It's just for me to just talk and just get it out into the air, and not to bash anyone, not to make anyone feel like they were a terrible person, but to remind people that love comes in many forms, and if you can't accept it from a person who would literally give everything to be with you and to make you happy, you're going to lose out. And one more thing before I close this out, like for the first like 2-3 weeks after cutting ties with this person, I was like, oh my gosh, I really lost a really good person, and like I lost someone who really cared about me. And I think I was just romanticizing who he was in the beginning and not rationalizing who he was in the end. Because who he was in the beginning, you couldn't tell me anything. I thought that this boy was going to be my husband. I thought fresh out of high school we're gonna get married and we're gonna have kids, and then who he was at the end was just like a completely different person. And it's just like, to hear some of the things that he was telling me after the fact, like after everything was said and done, it was really painful. Like it really hurt, and it still really hurts to even think about now. But like I'm getting to a place of like, I'm past the crying. I've done it all. I've laid down on the bathroom floor and cried. I've sat down in the shower and cried. I've cried. Will I probably cry a year from now? Hopefully not, because I will hopefully have a man in my life who really, truly, genuinely loves me. And I'm not saying that this person didn't. I think in the beginning, maybe they did. But you don't love someone and put them through the things that I was put through. And it's a simple fact. Like, you don't love someone and call them out of their name, or be aggressive towards them, or anything like that. So it's just like, but I also think in the beginning, his main focus was image, and I think that his focus still is image to this day. And that is a certain kind of selfishness that like really digs and cuts deep. Because in the beginning it just felt like, yes, I really like this person and this person really likes me, but it just felt like this person wanted to show everybody else that they were capable of having someone love them, rather than showing everybody that they were capable of being in a loving relationship. It was just like really confusing, especially when you're on and off with someone. I'm sorry, this is getting really long. I'm hopefully gonna like cut and trim and stuff, but like when you're with someone for so long and it's just like an on and off and on and off, it just gets way more confusing, because you can't tell if this person is deeply in love with you or deeply in love with the attention and just the things that you bring rather than you. So yeah, that's my little intro. No names, no hate, no anything, because again, this person was a really important person in my life for a really long time, and it sucks that it ended the way that it did, but I think God is revealing to me that not everybody has my best interest at heart. And I think God also knew that I was never going to leave if it was on my own will. Because even after everyone went off, even after this, in the first week, I was like, please God, bring him back. Or I was just like, if he were to come back tonight, I'll forgive him. And I will be happy, and I will do whatever he wants to make this work. And that's just such a sad mindset to have, especially as a teenage girl, because so many of us base our worth off of what boys think of us. And I think getting out of that mindset is really hard, especially after you feel like you found the boy. Some people are lessons. Some people genuinely do not have to be in your life forever. Because the way that things were going, and the way that things had been going for a year, I was draining every bit of myself to pour into this person with receiving the bare minimum back. And I feel like that's a really important part of relationships, is that it's 50-50. Emotionally and mentally and spiritually. You pour into this person so much that they have no choice but to pour back into you. And the realization is setting in that I was working overtime to pour into this person while they weren't doing the same. Getting through this because I'm ready to be healed. As sad as I am, I'm ready to let it go. I think. I hope. Okay, low-key have something else to say, and it's literally 2 seconds later, but just getting this all out feels really good. I posted a TikTok, and I've been posting TikToks to try and just get everything out rather than holding it to myself, because holding it in just breeds anger and resentment and sadness. So I'm trying to get it all out. And it literally made me cry like a baby last night. But it says, "And to the little girl who wanted a boy who never reminded her of her dad, I'm so sorry for not leaving sooner." When I posted that, I was like, wow. And then I just kept watching it and looking at my younger self, the picture I used of my younger self, which is this picture. Yeah, her. Literally the cutest. But I just sat and I looked at the picture of me and I just started crying. And it was out of nowhere. I was like, what the heck? But I think, at least for people who have daddy issues or mommy issues or just trauma from when you were younger, I think part of our reason for getting into a relationship is, at least for women, I'm going to say women with daddy issues. I'm only going to speak for what I know. Women with daddy issues, part of our reason for getting into a relationship is, okay, this person can show me what a man can be like when he isn't like my dad. And then when they start to remind you of your dad, then it's okay, well, maybe I shouldn't be with this person. But if you're anything like me and you had to keep forgiving your dad, or you watched your mom forgive your dad, and not even to bash my mom or anything like that, because I think that's where I get it from, just being so forgiving, because I watched her go through a lot and she forgave. So then once you see the person you're with start to show off traits that your dad also showed, then you just, it's you're right back in that little body that went through so much and saw so much and heard so much, and then the next morning you had to wake up and act like everything was fine, or you watched your mom wake up and act like everything was fine. And when you were younger and it happened so often, it was less confusing and more just like a norm. Like, okay, this happened with my parents, I watched this, I heard this, I saw this, but tomorrow will be fine because he would have calmed down. That was my biggest thing when I was younger, is like, oh, he's just angry right now, like, he'll calm down, he'll be fine. And so when I got into a relationship, and even like a week ago when I went through what I went through, I kept telling everybody, I was like, no, he's just angry right now. The person I was with, not my dad. I kept telling everybody, the person I was with, I was like, no, he's just angry right now. Like we always do this, he'll be fine in like a few days and we'll talk. And then like when it really started to set in that this person could just like throw me away like I was trash after being through so many ups and downs for 3 years, and then look me in my face and tell me that I was the reason he didn't love me anymore. It was just like somebody like punched me in the gut. And like, you know, when you get like hit in the stomach, you're like winded, like you can't breathe. That's what it was like. So then, in not being able to breathe, I was just like there's no way. And I was in denial for so long. And like I still, I'm not in denial. I'm just like, now I'm just more so like confused. Because if anyone knows me, they know I'm a very like science, math, STEM person. Like I like the things of logic, and I like things that make sense. And I like things that make sense because they're always supposed to make sense. Like 1 + 1 is always going to be 2. Like things that just make sense. And so now, rather than being in denial, I'm just like a bit more confused, because I've never heard that. Like I've never heard of someone else making you not love them. Because in all honesty, if that were the case, I feel like I would have stopped loving him a long time ago. The craziest part is I still love him now, you know? So I think the childhood trauma that I experienced followed me into this relationship, and rather than seeing red flags as red flags, I excused this person's behavior, and I was like, no, but they love me. But he still loves me. But he'll still call me when he calms down. But he'll still apologize when he realizes that what he said wasn't the nicest. And I think it's because all of those buts I just listed were the same buts that I had for my dad. And it just really sucks. It really, really, really sucks. Because I really thought this person was in love with me as much as I was in love with them. And it sucks even worse when like you know you can't be with this person, but your heart won't let you let them go because you're too worried about hurting them. Like my biggest thing, even when I was younger, like not like by much, but like 13 and up, was I'm never going to, like if I was in like a little like middle school, high school relationship, like one of those little ones that like don't really count, like I'm never going to be the one to tell a person I want to break up. I would rather for them to do it and me just sit back and just like live with that, because I don't want to be mean. And so when I finally worked up courage to leave this person, in my message I was like, I don't even know if I'm making the right choice. And I was like, I'm so sorry, like I don't mean to hurt you, like, and I even said like, if you ever like need someone to talk to or just want to like talk, like you have my number, I'm never gonna block you. And so I was like, we're both going through like a really hard change, it's like if you ever need anyone, like I'm still here. And I think the issue with that was I was finally like ready to let go, and then like he slowly like trickled his way back in with like promises and, oh, I'm so sorry for doing this, and then like even like sexual intimacy, which has always been like a really important thing to me, because again, I struggle with body image. It's like for a boy to want me in that way felt like an accomplishment in its own. So then like that, and just like all the things a person tells you to like get you to want them, which was never the issue. It was never like, oh, I just don't love you anymore, like I need to break up with you, or oh, I don't like you anymore, I don't want to be with you anymore. I never didn't want to be with him from when we first started dating. So it's just like, that was never my issue. So again, the comment that I made him stop loving me, it's just like, wow. And like for a really long time, I just like hated myself after that, because it was like, I made him stop loving me. I was such a terrible girlfriend and a terrible person that I made him stop loving me. And then I had to really just like sit up and realize, no, you literally weren't. Your world revolved around this person. You woke up and the first thing you thought about was that person. You went to sleep and the last thing you thought about was that person. You went to the grocery store and you thought about that person, so you picked up their favorite candy or their favorite drink. You thought so much about what this person wanted that you stopped thinking about what you wanted. And it's just like, I like canceled it out. Like, if we had a bad day and then like 2 days later he like took me out to dinner and to the movies, I was just like, okay, we're good. Like, he's good, we're good. And I think that was my biggest thing, and like my biggest hardship with ever trying to leave was like, yeah, he's bad, but when he's good, like it's really good. Like it just makes me forget about all the bad. And I think it is okay to forget about the bad, but it's not okay to ignore the bad. Piece of advice going into this: if you are young and you are in love, and it is a love that fills your heart with joy and happiness and expectations for the future more than it fills your heart with sadness and disappointment and anger and hurt, then take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. But if you are filled more with the latter, please do not ignore those signs, because if a boy makes you cry more than he makes you laugh, it is not worth it. If you are crying more nights than you are smiling and laughing and talking on the phone, it really isn't worth it. And my biggest advice is to leave before it gets worse. Because mental abuse is a real thing. Physical abuse is a real thing. Sexual abuse is a real thing. And this person will justify their actions by saying, it's your fault for making them mad, or it's your fault for not giving them what they wanted, or it's your fault because you didn't want to talk, so they just had to grab you so that you could keep talking. And I'm not saying any of those things happened to me, because this is not about this person that I am trying to get over. This is about me finding me and loving me, because I put this person way up here, and it's like I put this person way up here, but they got way up there by standing on my shoulders. So yeah.